Hi everyone in English 1301, it's Dr. E and I'm here with a video that's going to walk through some different areas and important points about our syllabus for the course. I understand that this isn't the most exciting kind of information, but it is really important with all your classes to take a look at what the syllabus is for you, right? So for our class, I really want that to be a resource and a place where you can get all kinds of information at a glance. So whether you're downloading a copy and keeping it somewhere or printing it and keeping it in a folder, it really is a document that has all the information that should be relevant to the course and supports you overall as a student. So this is what our syllabus looks like for this semester. I've tried to organize it in a way that's kind of, easy to search, easy to go through with, some hyperlinks that take us to different places. So you'll always have that course information available. You have information on who to contact should you need to, in addition to me. I do have a Google Voice number that I use during office hours. I have a general office phone number that we have to put here, but because we work remotely, it's just easier to use this number in those times of office hours. Pardon me, I have some dogs playing in the background. For email, always email me via D2L because it will go straight to my email inbox rather than going to our weird firewall. And if you're emailing, always use your school email just in general, because if you use your personal email accounts, again, sometimes that can get caught up in a firewall. We don't have an office location, but I'm always available to meet at our University Park campus for those of you who are in the area, or if you wanted to meet at another location to meet up for coffee or something, that's absolutely fine. But of course, online is always an easy way. So we have those student success or office hours, and that's via WebEx. But again, outside of these times, if that works for you, just let me know. I'm happy to meet whenever your schedule allows. I'm going to pause just to cough real quick. I'm sorry. I think those allergies are getting to us. Okay, so if we scroll down, we have a list of those important dates and a link to our final schedule. So again, at a glance, this just has those details. And then we get into the actual course where we have our course overview and learning outcomes. These are essentially those things that we're working towards in this course, which is, based on writing, but also, what are those steps in the writing process? What are our audiences and purposes for our writing, that kind of thing. And we're really heavily focused on this notion of what are the different steps that we should take to produce the best possible writing. So drafting, editing, revising, that kind of thing. So different courses have different kinds of time requirements. So we imagine about 8 hours of work per week. That includes, the reading that it takes for the course, the keeping up with D2L, the different assignments. There's also a list of technology requirements here that's really helpful to just double check. Make sure that you are familiar with all of this. You have links to Microsoft Online. And then there's, this section that really talks about if you're going to be a successful online learner, these are just the basics, right? You want to have an understanding of file management, of applications, that kind of thing. For those of you who are new to online, just double check, make sure that these are things that you're comfortable with. And then again, we have access to, the different sites that are important to us. So My Lone Star, D2L, and the Brightspace or Pulse app. Make sure that you've completed that online orientation, which it looks like many of you have. Some of you are still working on it. And then there's a link to the Virtual Learning Assistance Center. So again, all that information at a glance. So here's, the order information for our course text, which is Everyone's an Author. Some of you have asked about the previous edition. I can't make any promises. They have made some updates to this current edition. But if you want to take a gamble, I completely understand that. There's a link here to the online version of the text, which I really recommend. It's affordable, and you can get that through the bookstore as well, the print version. Any additional text I'll be posting in PDF format in our D2L course area. And then we have the, the big stuff, right? The grades. And so you'll see that grades are broken down in different ways. And I want you to know that each thing here with an asterisk will have its own video and assignment handout. So the syllabus is just brief. It's just covering that information in a snapshot kind of view, but it's all broken down in terms of points, because in the gradebook you will see points in D2L versus percentage, but they relate, of course. So in our course we have a lot of points based on participation, which comes in different forms. We have the mind maps and the weekly quizzes, the discussion posts, and then our major writing assignment is going to be a writing collection. So you will first write some written responses that you'll have a prompt to. You'll do some feedback reflections for those. So when I provide you feedback, you'll reflect on that and fill out some information. And then towards the latter half of the semester, you'll take those written responses and rework them, revise them, revisit them for a final portfolio submission. And then we end the semester with a multimedia project. It's lots of fun. It's the way I really like to end all semesters because it allows you to be creative. Of course, there's some writing involved, but the creativity is just a really fun way to end versus having a big exam or a huge writing kind of project, because we do satisfy all those requirements with the collection here. So take a look at that information. The grades are broken down just visually right here. And then here is just a little breakdown of those different assignments if you want, again, just a quick view. But there will be a lot more information to come, so don't worry. All the, necessary information about what your final letter grade will look like, and then we get into the instructor and course policies. So I'm going to pause again to cough. Sorry, allergies. So attendance and participation is just so important for an online course. If you've taken courses before, you know that your presence in D2L really makes a difference. The more you log into D2L, look around, and stay aware and updated, the better off you will do in the course. If you do not log in and submit work for 2 consecutive weeks, I'm just going to assume that there's something going on outside of school that has made it really difficult for you to keep up, and I will assume that a drop is probably the best option for you so that you don't get dinged in your overall GPA by having a bad grade in our course. So if you're going through something, make sure that you're just touching base with me briefly. You don't have to share personal details, but just let me know. There are all kinds of different policies that I want you to take time to really look at, including non-attendance drops, academically related activities. I don't want to read everything word for word because how boring is that, right? But if you have questions or concerns about the course, always know that there's that Q&A discussion area of D2L. And that really helps your colleagues as well. If you have a question, know that the likelihood of your colleagues having that same question is pretty high. So having that forum to share your questions and to have others be able to see it is really helpful. But if you do have individual concerns, of course, reach out to me via email through D2L, and we can always set up a time to meet virtually. Remember, in emails, we have a lot of courses, so make sure with professor emails you're sharing your pertinent information just so that we know who you are. And I'm often very quick with responses, but sometimes it can take up to 48 hours for me to respond. And that's particularly true on weekends, so just keep that in mind. There is that student-only chat area in the discussion board. I do not go in there. I don't have access to it, so feel free to communicate, set up GroupMe, any of that kind of stuff. All right. I don't accept late work in the course, but I do want you to note that there is a 48-hour grace period that does not impact your grade. So that is for work that's uploaded via D2L. That does not extend to our discussion posts because those discussions happen in real time. It's as though we're having a conversation in the course, but for things like quizzes, it says pack back here. We're still hoping to get pack back. Those of you who are familiar with that program, we're still trying to work things out. But for now, we have D2L discussions. But for quizzes and for any of those assignments that are uploaded, you do have a 48-hour grace period. So things are usually due on either Thursdays or Sundays. So you would have 2 additional days to submit that. I don't want you to make that a habit, but it is there if you need it. Okay, one more time, pausing to cough. I do want to stress that with an online course, the way we interact with one another is really important, and we need to make sure that we're reaching out with the utmost respect. We don't have the benefit of seeing one another. Sorry, dog growling. Seeing one another, so we have to understand that hold on one second. So without the benefit of those visual cues, we need to make sure that we do everything we can to have a respectful tone in our discussion posts and responses to one another, and also to our emails. If we're emailing each other, or if you're emailing me, just double check the tone. You may not at all intend to sound, rude, accusatory, anything. So just double check that. I try to do the same. We aren't always going to be successful, but all we can do is our best, right? We are an absolutely diverse community in terms of identities, and that should definitely be respected. I expect everyone to utilize colleagues' chosen names, chosen pronouns, all of that information that they are sharing in D2L. Please make sure that you are respectful of that. That is really why I want to use our chosen names and pronouns in the subject lines of discussion posts, so that we are using those, right? Make sure that you are just being aware, again, of how you are coming across. Something that is a joke to you may not come across in the same way to other folks, and we really need to be respectful in every possible way. I will deal with any of those situations, and I expect that if you see anything as a student that makes you uncomfortable, that raises a red flag, please reach out to me, because I may not have gotten to that discussion post in time or that kind of thing. And that moves right into the diversity, equity, and inclusion information. Please make sure you're taking some time to review that, as well as the plagiarism. AI, Chat, GPT, all of that is now kind of tied together with plagiarism. And so what I have here is that AI tools to help in ways can be useful. It's just like Grammarly. Grammarly is another tool that can be helpful, but we can't expect that to do all the work for us, right? We still have to be very present in our writing process, very present in those works that we submit. When you submit an assignment, I really expect you to attribute, what you may have used AI for, and to properly attribute that. Again, I support that in terms of brainstorming, but know that we do have Turnitin with plagiarism and AI detectors, and that's all your work will go through that. So just be aware. Please take some time to read through this information, and definitely reach out if you have any questions. Finally, I want to get to all the services. So we have a lot of services geared towards students, and those are all listed here. So know that we have advisors and counselors. Remember, advisors are more academically based. Counselors are more on the kind of mental health side, as well as disability services. We have we have librarians that just want to help. So make sure that you're taking advantage of that. We have testing centers, tutoring. For those of you in English 1301, we actually have Dr. K, a tutor, and somebody who is there to help us, as a class. So make sure you're taking advantage of their time and energy and experience. And then we have the Lone Star College policies here. So again, this is just information to have at a glance. I'm not going to read everything line for line because boring for both of us, but very important information. So make sure that you are putting aside some time looking at this and referring to it throughout the semester, so that you just are up to date on where to go and who to reach out to should you need to, in addition to me, right? All right. So we're through with all the legalese and stuff. So go ahead and take some time to move on to all the activities we have this week. And of course, reach out and let me know if you have any questions.